Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Boulder Rotary. I'd like to have Marty Evans lead us in the pledge and the four-way test.
Okay, would you please join me as we pledge allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And in the spirit of Rotary, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. So welcome everybody to Boulder Rotary, the best place to be on a Friday afternoon. Whether you're here in the room with us or on Zoom. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I ate a lot of turkey over and over and over, like 4 helpings. So it was a successful venture. And now I'd like to have Danny Lindow introduce those of guests here that are in the room.
Hi, I'd like to introduce my brand new friend whom I met 50 seconds ago, John, and I don't even know his last name, but he owns John's Auto Care right nearby here. So give us your last name, John.
My last name's Argro. I own John's Auto Care over on 55th Street, just down the street from us here, and have done so for about to complete 16 years.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. I too have a friend that I just met 20 minutes ago. Rob Drugan is a retired neuroscience professor from the University of New Hampshire. What was amazing when we started visiting is his wife is a volunteer instructor for Ignite Adaptec STEAM, and we had a program here about a month ago, or maybe longer ago than that. As a result of that program, I'm also a volunteer for this year to do that, now that I'm retired, but I'm brand new. His wife has been doing it for 10 years. She's been coming out here, even though they've been living in New Hampshire, to volunteer in that program. Anyway, so they're going to be out here for part of the year in the wintertime and then be back in New Hampshire. Rob is a Rotarian in New Hampshire, and we would love to have him decide this could be his home base when he's out here in the wintertime. So welcome, Rob.
Yes, we have Brooke Stableford here. He's visiting for the first time today. He is a Boulder resident and works in real estate, teaches Spanish, and is also looking to expand his work opportunities. So thank you, Brooke, for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, I've got, beyond what other people have as friends, I've got a friend and a neighbor, my next door neighbor, Bob Owens. Known him for about 3 years, I guess. Yep. I just say hi.
Hello, glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, visitors and guests. Any other guests today? Well, great. Well, thanks for coming.
All right. Hi there, everybody. I would like to welcome all our guests who are visiting us on Zoom. We have Chuck from Florida. So if you'd like to say hi, Chuck. No? Not here? All right. And maybe Dominica. Are you there? Do you want to say a few words?
Yes, I am. Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be with you again.
Lovely. We're so glad that you could be with us, and we really appreciate everybody who's joining us on Zoom, and enjoyed the program. Thank you.
So thanks everyone for being here. It's great seeing so many faces that I haven't seen in a while here in the room, as well as on Zoom. I know we have around 27 people on Zoom today, so a really good turnout for today's meeting. So thank you all for making that happen. Now I'd like to have Kitty DeKeefer come up here and talk to us a little bit about a new fundraising idea that's going to take place in 2022.
I told you, I'll be that old lady who dies in her shoes. So, my partner in crime, Sally Brown, couldn't be here today. As you know, I think most of you know, unfortunately, her father-in-law passed away, and they are at the funeral today. But we are excited to say that we have come up with a new concept for our major event. We haven't done this event, gosh, I'm going to say February 2019, right before COVID hit. And so we're excited about a new possibility. Now, we don't have a name for it yet, but it will be on May 6th at the Boulder Country Club starting at 5:30, and it will be about a cocktail hour and a dinner. But the exciting part of all of this is that we are going to model it after the Boy Scout dinner, if some of you might know about that, where we get nominees, and those 5 nominees that we'll eventually end up with have done something substantial over the last 2 to 3 years within our community. And it can't be a Rotarian, it needs to have been someone within the Boulder community. And the first place winner will receive $1,000 to go to the nonprofit of their choice. And the 4 runners-up will receive $250 to go to the nonprofits of their choice. And this does 2 things. It brings in new people to our events that are non-Rotarians, so potentially they could become Rotarians. And secondly, it gets our name out in the community. So Sally and I are very excited about this. There's more to come about information. Like I said, we're still trying to figure out some of the details, but sponsorships are available. So those of you that know me, please don't run away when I come up and talk to you. And I think that's all I wanted to say, but please mark your calendars, Friday, May 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Kitty. A couple of announcements. As Kitty mentioned, let's keep Daryl and Sally in our thoughts today, as well as Norma Portnoy, whose mother passed away. So just a little bit of Rotary family news. Another quick announcement, we are going to be launching the cookbook finally. There are a few other small changes that need to be made, but that should be heading to Amazon so we can all purchase it at some point, hopefully here within the next week. But that is really close, and you can buy that and stuff it in a stocking and make all the great dishes in there. So keep an eye out for that. Another quick thing here that I want to take a minute to talk about. John Jonas and Nancy Billica this past week interviewed some of our outbound, or one of our outbound students in Youth Exchange. As you know or may not know, that's a big thing for me. Youth Exchange is really my favorite part of Rotary. And we haven't had any activity with the program in the last few years. I never thought that if there was ever a chance I was up here that I wouldn't have Youth Exchange students on the first Friday of the month. And I kind of got tired of that, so I decided to change it. Right now on Zoom, we have a former inbounder from Switzerland. You guys may remember him from a few years ago, Valentin. Valentin, are you with us? Unmute yourself if you can.
Yes, I am with you.
So Valentin was part of our last inbound class here when COVID hit. And Valentin, is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions and check in to see how you're doing?
Yes, sure.
So when you were here, you kind of got stuck in your house, quite literally. Can you tell us about your experience to get home?
Yeah, when school ended and we only had to sit at home, I think I had a pretty great host family. I could do a lot of stuff around their yard. I like to do stuff with my hands, so I could build them. Like, we built a shed and we made some bookcases for their house. And then I decided to go home a month early because I was getting tired of being stuck in their own like four walls. So I got home a month earlier. I booked a flight, and then 1 week before this flight, the flight got canceled. So I had to search for another flight. I found one. There was only one flight who was going back from the USA to Switzerland. That was from New York. So I had to fly from Denver to New York, and then from New York to Switzerland. And the one plane from Denver to New York was pretty empty, so I had a lot of room, but the other one from New York to Switzerland was pretty stuck. Yeah, it was really, in New York, it was kind of creepy because there were no people in the airport, so you were basically almost on your own. Only like some security guards and some lunch ladies and some other staff, but no passengers. So that was pretty crazy.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your experience here in Boulder and what stuck out to you as the most significant moment?
I had a great time. I really loved the school, Boulder High School. I did a lot of sport. That's one thing I really like about the U.S. school system, that you have the school like integrated in the sport in your school. So there's a lot of pride and spirit around the sport. In Switzerland, like in Boulder, I first played football, then I wrestled, and then before COVID, I wanted to play rugby, but we only could had practice for 2 weeks, and then it got canceled. I think that's really great. That was like my really great experience to have this team spirit, and like the whole school is standing behind you when you have a game or a match. And that's like in Switzerland, we have like the clubs where you do our sport in. I'm in a wrestling club in Switzerland, so but we don't have this huge crowd when we have games or yeah. One of I think the greatest experience I had was when we went hiking with my host family, and I saw a lot of deer and other animals in the national park. Or one drive where we drove up to over to Utah to meet the uncle of my host mother, I think it was, to Salt Lake City. That was a really great, or like one of my greatest experience.
That's great. And can you tell us a little bit about your plans for the future?
So right now I'm doing an apprenticeship as a carpenter. And I work 3.5 days, and one and a half day I go to school. So in Switzerland, a lot of people do an apprenticeship, and we can choose to do, normally if you're going to a normal apprenticeship, you go only to school a half of a day, where you learn all the things you need to know about the job you want to learn. And I chose to do an additional day. So after my 4 years of apprenticeship, I can go study at a university. And I think I'm going to want to go studying in timber engineering.
That's great. Thank you so much for catching us up on what you've been up to. It's good to see you, and you're always welcome back here anytime you want to come back to Boulder.
Thank you really much. Thank you for the great year I was able to have with you guys.
Thank you. All right, there's really no way to segue out of that, so let's pull out your raffle tickets. Today's number is 724-667. Congratulations. I bet you'll be coming back again too, right? Okay, next up, we have Charlotte Rome and Lynn Johnson are going to give us a quick update on the WASH program. And while they're on the way up here, let's go to Dr. George Russell for birthdays.
Graduated from medical school in 1967. I knew the answer to every question. At least I thought I did. 20 years later, all the questions had been changed. I mean, all the answers had been changed. 20 years after that, all the questions had been changed. So I wrote this poem. I've decided absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, to be totally ambivalent about those things that I know nothing about. And the things I know completely and totally understand will be firmly and solidly implanted like a feather in shifting sand. Because sometimes the more you learn, the more things are unclear, and the concrete truths of yesterday may be different this time next year. So don't shut in your knowledge and clutter your brain with factoids of all kind. The secret to knowledge is to always leave the door open to your mind. Now, that poem made me realize that all those teachers who told me it's lifelong learning weren't in fact lying. We have two twins that were separated at birth. There's birthday people today. I'll introduce Marty Evans. Well, John Sullivan was born today, and he was brought in the club by me.
It's a birthday present that keeps on giving, George, and thank you. And I just, what I've been thinking about, and Valentin on the screen reminded me of this, is what we've been doing since, I don't know, March of 2020, and what it's taken to get there. And what it's taken is persistence. And so I looked up some quotes about persistence and found a poet called the Hoosier Poet. You know the Hoosier Poet? No, it's James. I can't read his name because of the... Oh, yeah, thank you, Marty. We are twins. James Whitcomb Riley. The most essential factor is persistence, the determination never to allow your energy or your enthusiasm to be dampened by the discouragement that must inevitably come. So keep that in mind as we go forward.
Marty Evans, happy birthday, Marty.
Actually, we were triplets. And our triplet is Daryl Brown, who unfortunately is with the family, so we're really sorry that he can't share the table with us. I found two quotes, speaking of quotes. The first one, when you can't find sunshine, be the sunshine. And I kind of sort of think that's Rotary. And this next one is for the doctors and lawyers in the house. Never sing in the shower. Singing leads to dancing. Dancing leads to slipping. And slipping leads to paramedics. Remember, don't sing. Thank you.
Be sure and sit at the birthday table close to your birthday. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you both. My dad was a high school basketball coach, and he always said that the Hoosier poet was Bob Knight. I don't know if that's true or not. He also told me about Bob Knight's furniture store. You buy the table, he'll throw in the chairs. Okay, next up, Charlotte, Lynn, you guys ready?
So thank you, Chad. And on behalf of the District 5450 WASH Symposium Committee, Lynn and I wanted to thank the Boulder Rotary Club, and specifically the Peace Builders Committee and the Preserve Planet Earth Committee for sponsoring our symposium this year. That was held earlier this year in October. It was a hybrid event, and we had over 150 people who participated. The recordings now are up online on the webpage, so if you're interested, you can go in and see those. So as you know, 100% of the net revenue that comes out of the WASH Symposium goes towards supporting scholarships for students in the WASH field, projects that they're running or to attend conferences, etc. And as far as we know so far this year, we were able to raise $8,000, which could be providing support between 8 and 10 scholarships next year. In the meantime, we also had last year's scholarships that have come through, and Lynn has been the chair this year for the scholarships, so just give him the podium to talk about those. Thank you. Thank you again to the club.
Charlotte's a prime mover in this WASH conference organization and carrying it forward, so thanks for that. The scholarships awarded to student applicants for travel to a conference or support for a research project. So this year we were able to allocate last year's money to 5 students. And just a brief summary, I think you'd be interested. Evelyn is from CU Health Public Health Program, Masters of Public Health. And she has a project in Uganda for a school teaching and training on WASH principles. So the award of $1,000 helps her travel there. Kelly is a student at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, a master's program, and she's going to travel to Greece to present a paper at an international health conference next summer. Itza is a Master of Engineering student at University of South Florida, and he's going to Cambodia to work on a project relating to sanitation for the floating cities, if you will, water supply and sanitation. And Adeline is a PhD student at South Florida, and she has a project in Madagascar looking at the use of hand pump wells and contamination by lead, because apparently the hand pumps have pieces of them, or all of them, are made out of lead. So, and Emma is a master's student in engineering at the Colorado School of Mines, and she's going to Portland, Oregon to look at the water supply and health considerations associated with the homeless in the city of Portland. So our congratulations to all of them. I think it's wide diversity and really interesting projects, and this emphasis of the WASH conference to support student endeavors, I think, has been realized, and it's to me, a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Thank you both for your work on that. I really find that to be, especially Lynn, when you're talking about the students and what they're doing and where they're going, what a great counterbalance to our speaker today. And you know, going other places and doing good, I think, is one way that maybe we could help prevent some of the wars that we have in some small way. I don't know if you might agree with that or not, but to me, I feel like that, and I think a lot of people in this room do as well. Next up, we have the brew.
Very sad to announce that former member Jim Hanafan passed away at age 82 on October 28th. He was a major influencer in the club in the late 90s and early 2000s. Countless new members to Boulder Rotary were sponsored by Jim. Jim helped co-found the first international Rotary Club, the E-Club, and he was Rotarian of the Year in 1999 and District's 5450 Rotarian of the Year in 2001. At this time, no memorial service is planned, but please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. In the first quarter of next year, 2022, we have a special guest from Metro State University who will come and be our program. But what we don't have is a responder and an introducer for that Metro State University speaker. So if you have any connection with Metro State, please contact Chad Stam at rotary@chadstam.com or Carl Kurtz at whatever his email is. It's probably up on the screen right now. So if you have some connection with Metro State University, we're looking for an introducer and a responder sometime first quarter next year.
Do you want to dance? Huh? Do you want to dance? Yeah. You know you make me wanna take my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and.
You know what makes me want to shout? That's right, happy hour with my fellow Rotarians. Boulder Rotary Club Happy Hour, Tuesday, December 14th, 4:30 p.m. at the lobby of the St. Julian Hotel. Join us for a fun and festive Rotary Happy Hour. Hope to see you there, Tuesday, December 14th. Okay, we have a very special Rotarian on the street. It's actually a random mother on the street whose last name also happens to be Brady. So, the question this week is, which of your 3 children is your favorite? I'll give you a clue. He's sitting right next to you. Which is your favorite child?
Christine.
Oh my gosh. Well, you heard it right here. Random mother on the street for Rotarians of the Week.
In a lab, deep in the University of Colorado, mad scientists have developed a living material, a secret mixture of bacteria and other scary things. They hope to replace an existing building material like bricks. It might even replicate itself, and it's environmentally friendly. Oh, right. It's environmentally friendly. And that's not scary. That's awesome. Next week's program is Dr. Jeff Cameron, and he's going to talk about how the University of Colorado is developing a substitute for concrete. And it's made from a bacterial base. It's going to be really cool. Don't miss it.
You know what we should do, Cassidy?
What?
I think that we should have a great weekend.
Thank you to the three amigos for the brew. Thanks to Mike and Jared for greeting us at the door. Thanks to Eve, Pam, and Vanessa for handling the check-in desk, and Chris Coker for the raffle. Thanks to Cassidy for moderating Zoom, and thanks to Fred, Lynn, and John for the desk. I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch Animal House on a loop all weekend. I hope everyone has a happy Hanukkah. For those who celebrate, have a great weekend.